Well, if it's ticking, then we're going. Is the counter running?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm Mark Leonard from the Allegan Conservation here. I'm here with Jeff Rossen from 8th Day Farm. And this is Soil Health Working Group number 2 for 2013. And this is a little departure for us. We usually are on big row crop farms, and now we are on a very small, very organic, very local, and downtown farm. And here comes my daughter. Hi, Bunny. Anyway, Jeff, how these things work is we'll typically ask a few questions about the operation, and we'll kind of walk around, and we usually look at equipment. This is your primary equipment, as I understand.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Los Manos, that's good. And then we'll root around in the soil a little bit and see what there is to see. Right on your website, 8th Day Farm started out as a for-profit kind of startup CSA. Why don't we start there, and if you can jump off from there and give us a little history of how you ended up back downtown and what the kind of the mission of the organization is and all that good stuff.
Yeah. It's only 4 years in the making, but it's convoluted, so see if you can follow.
Sure.
In 2010, my wife and I decided that we'd try to enter farming, and so we live downtown Holland, 18th Street. I'd been in seminary and was working at school, but thought we'd give this a shot. So we built a hoop house, 20 by 30 foot, in our backyard downtown, took most of our backyard up, and then started leasing some land southwest of town, in Grasslip area, up 146th. And then we just basically started with a small 30-member CSA that first year, 2010. But almost immediately, we were part of a pretty close-knit like house church and just community downtown Holland. That very first summer, we had friends encourage us to bring it underneath the local nonprofit called 360. And so in that first season, we were kind of making plans for the following year of doing that. And so that's in 2011, the following year, is when we kind of partnered with Zion Lutheran Church, who owns this property. This was the Zion Lutheran preschool. But it had been vacant for about 5 years, and they wanted to see something done with it. So they invited us to come and farm this space. So then we had the property out in the country, plus this one in 2011. And that same year, by the end of the season, 360 said, "Oh, you're growing pretty quick. Why don't you become your own nonprofit?" So last year, 2012, we started doing the paperwork for that. Then we also started another site on the north side of town at the Holland Town Center off James Street. It's the old Holland Mall. And there we about 1.3 acres production. So last year was the first year doing that, and then this year finally it's just been those same 3 properties, everything new. It's going to allow development of infrastructure each year. And we got our own nonprofit status now, and we're still discovering what all that means and what we're best suited to do. I think it'll be more educational in nature.
Okay. And what's your total acreage?
So in production, it's probably around 3 acres.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I kind of joke, this is your primary tools here. Do you do any mechanical tilling or use any kind of soil prep that way?
Well, this site, you probably scan around to see, it's just a half acre. So we, initially we had some stuff come into a little dozer to move. We had these big piles of decomposed wood chips and compost and manure. But typically it's just a rototiller for us, just a push rototiller.
Okay.
We have a wheel hoe we use occasionally for weeding, and it's just the basic hoes and shovels, pitchforks for a compost pile. And then at the beginning of the year with our other sites, we'll rent out a tractor with a bucket and a tractor with a rototiller behind it, basically, to speed things up.
Okay. What do you do for soil fertility? I usually work in the row crop world. Those are typically pretty forgiving crops for certain kinds of fertility. Horticultural crops like you grow, not so much. Especially you can have some real problems with fruiting crops like tomatoes if you don't have things right. How do you make sure that you're getting the nutrients you need into your plants?
Yeah, there's no quick answer. It's very complex naturally because the complexity is here.
That's why we call it a working group.
Yep. So it's been site by site too. This site, and we'll get into this I'm sure when we go over there, but we came here, it's pretty much pure sand, and there weren't even weeds growing. So we brought in maybe 180 yards of the city of Holland has like this wood chip pile. They had a couple piles, and one was like really decomposed. It was almost still a little more carbon than you want. So we brought in that first year. We brought in some extra soil. We brought in these like 30 to 40 yards of like a pretty decomposed like a horse manure compost. Any kind of organic matter we could find to create some, decent moisture holding kind of topsoil, or top layer. So that's what we did here, and right away we did all that very first spring, and then we could constantly. Well, actually, we started in the fall of 2010 because we knew we were going to do it in 2011, and so we started our own compost pile too. So we had the city also dropped off wood chip or leaves. They do a leaf pickup, and then we'd go around and collect compostable materials, and we were adding that coffee grounds and spent grain and spoiled produce into that pile, and we're turning that all winter. So we added that as well. So it was a significant amount of compost that was used, and it was successful. This property was done great from the beginning. So better than the other ones. It's a half acre, so you throw that much organic matter in it, it'll do well. So.
Well, the nice thing about a sandy soil is you can change it very rapidly.
Yeah, and the
clay soil, that's a longer term process. My mentor told me, think of it as like a flywheel. Sand's got a little tiny flywheel. You can bring it up to speed real quick. You can get it where it'll go, but it doesn't have the staying power of clay. Clay's a big flywheel. Takes longer to change that momentum, but once you get to that point, there's more staying power, more water holding capacity just inherently in the material.
Exactly. Yeah, and so even though it grew great, we're just continuing to add, because exactly, it's just a shallow layer on top. And then we were blessed that first year too. It was wet. Had some significant rains early on, so that helped things. And we have plenty of irrigation. We have a shallow well. We're drawn off for this. So even last year we had like 30 days without rain. We were able to keep things afloat here.
Mostly overhead irrigation, or
we do overhead for part of it, and then drip for the other half. Okay. And the original intent, we had our other properties kind of split as well, some overhead and then drip. I prefer drip. The overhead we had over there was specifically for kind of keeping consistent moisture for quick crops. So we have a section we do succession cropping, so it's a lot of lettuces, radishes, and carrots and beets and stuff we wanted to pop up quick and turn around. So we do overhead.
Okay. Any soil testing, tissue testing, any of that kind of stuff?
We've done it at the other site, not here. Because this stuff grew so well the first year, we just didn't do it. So and I wasn't concerned about any kind of contaminants. The other site we've done a couple, both. One was for contaminants, and we did a heavy metal testing, and then we also did just a nutrient test over there. So
turned up anything alarming over there? Or?
It's really high pH. It's a heavier soil there.
Okay.
I think the pH is the most kind of alarming thing. It was like a 7.4.
Kind of gray clay.
So we had some gray clay in there.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So.
That'll do it. Maybe talk a little bit about the Csa model, what you like about it, what the challenges are.
Yeah.
Maybe just a brief explanation of what it is.
Yeah, Csa stands for Community Support Agriculture. It came over to the U.S. from Japan, Europe, in the mid-1980s, and it's been growing in popularity, especially in 2010, exploded. A lot of CSAs now. And essentially it's just a model of farming where you have a relationship between the farmer and the consumer. It's direct, so the consumer knows where the produce is coming from. Meet the farmer. It's a lot of trust there. And essentially it's also a way for the consumer to kind of take on the risk. They're a shareholder in the farm. The risk that goes with eating food, the agriculture. So it's most often it's people with some conviction or some knowledge here that are joining up. And they pay in advance. So that's nice for the farmer because cash flow purposes, it's nice to have some money up front. They pay in advance, and then they get produce throughout the growing season. Typically, the summer season for CSAs in this region goes from the beginning of June to end of October. So we have a 22-week season, and they come once a week to the farm site and pick up the produce. Our CSA, we haven't structured it such that people have to come out and weed or work for a couple hours a week. Some CSAs do that, or provide a discount if you do that. I think we did it the first year a little bit, but just found it simpler for us to do the harvesting and the weeding and just bring the produce. So it's kind of nice. So we have a couple of you pick items, so people can come out and pick peas early in the season, and then beans right now, or cherry tomatoes. So there's a little bit of opportunity to get especially for kids, it's nice to get their hands on.
Yeah.
That tangible aspect. So.
Yeah. How have you seen the? You said when you got out here initially, it wasn't even growing weeds.
Yeah.
How's the weed profile changed over the years? Have you noticed any trends, any differences over time?
Yeah. You know, some weeds are imported when we brought like straw in. You know, there's all kinds of ways they come. Yeah, it's only 3 years. It's hard to like say like big trends. One of the things we've been battling was we have like quackgrass and this, I believe it's nimbawill, like a Bermuda grass. It spreads out, and that's kind of it comes in. We have this little island just outside the fence. Mm-hmm. It just keeps coming in. So we talked about eventually maybe putting a barrier there. That's more of a nuisance, but the plants still grow well with that around it. But yeah, we in the city, weeding it's interesting. Like we go to other organic farms. It's a business, so you gotta survive, and you only have so much time to, you have to weed at certain stages early on. But after that, your plants can compete okay. So weeding isn't quite the priority. Here we get enough. Not that there's people say anything, but there's like that pressure. Like this has to look good.
Sure.
So it is a priority of ours to keep it as well weeded as possible.
Yeah.
The aesthetic is of great importance for us being an urban farm.
Yeah. Well, and Kelly, maybe pan over here and we can look at the perimeter a little bit. I've noticed you've got the, what are those, 4 o'clocks? Oh, zinnias.
Zinnias, yeah.
Yeah, I got the zinnias all the way around. Oh. There you go. And it really is just a very neat little farm.
What do the zinnias do for you?
They make the neighbors happy. We yeah, I mean, it is, again, form as much as function. We donate some of the flowers, and we CSA members can pick some, and then we sell once in a while at our stand. But yeah, make it look nice.
How do you do for pollination out here? Do you maintain bees or just rely on native pollinators?
Yep, we have a beehive. A friend has a beehive. It's around the back of the building. Last year we had it up at the top of the preschool. But yeah, the first year I think, we don't know if we had a beehive as native pollinators. We did okay. It wasn't. We had a lot of feral bees early on, kind of dig the holes, the solitary.
Yeah, mason bees and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Any significant insect pests you got to battle against?
At this property, not so much. Praise God, it hasn't been that bad. We have more pressure at our other sites. I mean, this year we're not growing anything in the squash. I mean, last year we had our summer squash zucchini, and there was significant, cucumber beetle pressure. But aphids aren't that bad here. I have a lot of aphids. There are probably a ton of aphids, but just nothing unusual. Japanese beetles go for the zinnias more than anything else. It's nothing too bad, really.
Good. Well, because that's certainly, I think it's kind of a struggle in West Michigan because there's such a history of horticulture around here.
Yeah.
Every pest under the sun, every weed under the sun, every disease under the sun.
Yep.
It's here in West Michigan someplace.
Yep.
You think your downtown location helps with that a little bit? I mean, you're a little isolated from other horticulture around here.
Yeah. I mean, things find their way. I mean, still tomato horn. This year's been great with tomato hornworms, many, but yeah. I hope that. We have rabbits. A lot of rabbits like to come in here, but thankfully there's no deer, or woodchucks. We had woodchuck today. We killed south side or around the country. But yeah, that is a benefit for sure, being in this location.
Any two-legged predation going on, or
nope?
Has been an issue so far?
Nope. We'd welcome that. That'd be good.
There we go. That's the way you can feed the homeless. Open the gate. Yeah. So you're 4 years in. This is a family avocation, or something you just wanted to take on? Are you from a farm family?
No, not at all. But I qualify that a little bit. My mom's brother is a local farmer.
Okay.
And so, in the end of high school, we moved to Holland when I was late in high school, and then through my undergrad years, I worked at his farm. So he's 25 acres, vegetable, conventional, vegetable production, and so I got a taste for it there. Good
Who's
taste.
your uncle?
Tim Boovy.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
He's one of our guys.
Okay, yeah. So I spent a lot of time with him, and
Okay.
that definitely was the main big foot in the door. And then before we started this in 2009, I volunteered at Groundswell and Eaters Guild a little bit,
Okay.
just to get a better feel for kind of organic methodology.
Sure. So where do you get your information on how to do this organic stuff?
So there's nothing better than going out and seeing it firsthand. That's why, Katie and Tom at Groundswell are great, and Lee's a genius down in Eaters Guild. And then I love to read, so just sell a bunch of books. Just talk whenever you can. Go to conferences. Anywhere I can get it, it's good.
Yeah. Yes, I sometimes think there's a little wishful thinking that circulates in the organic world. How are you separating the wheat from the chaff when you're reading those articles?
Yeah. Well, after doing it for a few years, I think some are just maybe a little simple. The same kind of article. There's a simplicity, maybe, an optimism, romanticism comes with it. But there's still basic principles. You believe so strongly, like you'll pursue and still pursue those methods, even if there's hardships that aren't necessarily accounted for in the literature. But I think one of the things organics that I found it's interesting. There aren't a lot of like older mentors, which is something that's to be mourned, I think. So a lot of people in the organic realm always go back to like Elliot Coleman.
Yeah.
There's this. It'd be nice if there was a diverse group of older generation organic farmers. And there are some out there, but maybe we could glean more knowledge from.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're overwhelmed with mentors in farming. Period. I think it is a challenge. We're bumping up against an average age of farmers in the getting into the very late 50s to early 60s, and there's certainly a challenge there, no matter what kind of farming you're doing. What's next for 8th Day Farm?
Good question. Ask the board. We have a board of directors. I don't know. I'll say what I hope is next. I'm hoping and proposing right now. The next year we stay at these same sites and we still do some of the production we're doing. But I really like to spend some of my time, as I mentioned, I live on 18th Street, working with families in the core city of Holland, setting up kind of backyard gardens, show them how to grow some of their own food, and then just develop your relationship and kind of teaching them how to shop at grocery stores, the farmers market, what is healthy, how to cook. I just like to shift the food culture to people seeing the advantages of local and more produce in their diets. So just the journey my wife and I have been on from eating kind of more standard processed foods as kids to where we are now. It takes a ton to change the way you eat, and you can't do it as an island or as a loner. You need a community. So there's a number of ways, and some organizations downtown I like to partner with, just alongside families and try to create some networks in neighborhoods of people that can start thinking about their food differently. So.
Talk about the workshops that you hold here for the public.
Yeah, so this year we had a workshop on composting here back in May, and then in June we had a workshop that a nutritionist came and spoke about the benefits of increasing plant-based foods in your diet. And in July we had a beekeeping workshop here, and just a week ago we had a workshop on canning food preservation. And we held that at Western Salmon there, used their kitchen, and it was fun. Yeah, good turnout, and yeah.
Very good. Well, maybe the thing to do, why don't we just turn the camera here and we'll just go grab some dirt and see what we can find here. Actually,
You just grab a shovel? What's your thought?
yeah, go ahead and shut her off for a minute.
What are you doing?
Digging the hole.
Come on, that's my favorite part of all of these.
Hold her.
There you go, get in the sand.
Dad,
Yeah.
can you separate this children?
No.
Daddy, come back here.
All right.
Daddy's
see
got
what we
to
got.
analyze the soil. Come back.
Lots of good roots in here. Got that good earthy smell. That's a ton of my seeds. That's always a good sign that something's alive in there.
This dig a hole.
Be nice, bunny.
Ed, come here.
No.
You're hurting the video. Come on.
See, what I like to see, what I like about this is it's actually holding together reasonably well. Some of that's the root, but some of that is the microbial glues and things you'll get over time. So that should just get better and better.
Yep.
Keep throwing the soil in there. Keep throwing the stuff in.
Mine
There.
is
Get a little white grub of some kind. I like to say in West Michigan we got 3 kinds of soil. We got too much sand, too much clay, and too much water. You would have too much sand. Probably not near enough water, but it's coming. You know, I would say it's kind of early in its development where it'll go, but it's coming right on. Yes, bunny.
Can we go home?
Pretty soon. Pretty soon.
I'm taking you home anyway.
Now, when you get a good rain out here, you starting to see night crawlers and your bigger worms, or?
Yeah, not as many as I like though. It's nothing like our clay property. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's another kind of challenge about the sandy soils. They don't support the worm populations just because it dries out so quickly compared to a heavier soil.
yeah.
Any questions from you folks about 8th Day Farm here today?
Hey, Daddy, stop! Stop!
How do you guys usually plant? If you
Oh yeah.
mechanically?
Depending on the crop, I have a planted junior and an earthway bush cedar. So like the beets, just go with the cedar.
Hey, look at.
You know, a lot of stuff we have transplants. So
Okay.
that's a lot of it's by hand. The leeks, trying to Elliot Coleman kind of technique of puncturing these long holes, and we have transplants we try to bury them deep. Yeah. But we grow almost, I'm trying to think, almost all our stuff. Onions we got, some sets, we also got some young transplants from Johnny's.
Daddy.
Everything else we could start from seed
Okay.
in our greenhouse. It's 20 feet by 30 feet, we all grow it. And the rest of my backyard's sprawling, I'm trying to harden them off and juggling all spring, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a pain, but
Yeah.
yeah. And if you go by the trellises over there, we have tomatoes every other one. Like there, it's even worse than this section. It's like just pure sand. And so what we did there, first year, is we dug a hole about this deep, backfilled it with compost, and put a little bit of just rock phosphate and some gypsum as calcium right at the base for transplants in there. Just to maximize the amount. We only had so much compost. This is like quality stuff
Right.
we've done. So they were fantastic. But you go over there, it's still like the aisles are so sandy and yeah.
Are you guys certified organic or not?
Not, and it's the soil. The way we came to that decision to kind of stick with our compost at this point is I went out to Growing Power in Milwaukee, and that big, kind of internationally known.
Yeah,
urban
Will
farm.
Allen's outfit.
Will Allen, yep. And so I attended some of their workshops, and that was the big thing. Like for me, is I wanted to learn composting. Because I really, like you said, I just believe there's a lot of microbial life in the soil. I just want to feed the soil as much as possible. So, you know, they insisted that the materials you put in the compost pile, including like spoiled produce from a grocery store that would have potentially pesticide on it, residue, in a hot compost, that stuff will break down. There's no legitimate reason for concern. Of course, the National Organic Program, they regulate such that any materials you're putting in your compost pile also can be organic. So that's what's prohibiting us right now is the compost we're using. So we don't spray anything that's not approved. That's the thing out there.
You said you were a student of theology, so you ought to be comfortable with this National Organic Program. I mean, it's got a certain religious zeal to it, I think.
Yeah.
A way to put that's charitable.
Yep. No, and there's some streaks to that too. So, but I feel comfortable in what we're doing. So I feel like safe.
Okay.
Yeah.
No concern the National Organic folks are going to come raise cane with you? I mean, do you
We don't put the
sell
word
your
organic.
produce? Okay.
Nope. It's staff. So I tell people it's chemical free, or we don't use synthetic fertilizers, pesticides. So they just got to do a lot of explaining.
Sure.
So, as I say, we're not certified organic. I can say that, and this is why. So, yeah.
Other questions?
You grow any plants to help with bugs? Other plants?
Yeah, well, I've heard like the carrots and the leeks are, next to each other, repel each other's pests, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about the companion planting for how well that works, I think there could be like trap crops for like flea beetles, put radishes down, but then you got to be diligent to like get rid of all of them, like flame weed them, like our flame weed died again. Or somehow eliminate the pests into me. I like to see more studies, I guess, like if you put that kind of trap crop right next to it, is this increasing the population? It's still going to go to your, or such a small scale, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a mixed bag. Like the blueberry guys, we talk about putting Japanese beetle traps up. All I did was draw more beetles.
Draw more beetles in, yeah.
On the flip side, when I was working at a blueberry farm, we seeded buckwheat between the rows, and God, the Japanese beetles just chewed the dickens out of that. Practically left the blueberries alone.
Yeah.
So I think it really depends on the season and what kind of other offers they're getting.
Yeah. Exactly. So much to learn.
Do you find that different plots have different bug populations depending where you are?
Yeah, that's saying the aphids and the other side. Everything's close over there. And I think it's probably, we have good soil. I think your plants, their defense systems are stronger, so that's a big part of it. More soil there, less fertility.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, it's an interesting notion. It's one that I think has some merit, but I think it's got its limitations too. I get a little nervous, and I'm not saying this about you, but when an organic producer says, I just keep my plant health up and everything's fine. I don't have to spray anything, I don't have to do anything, I don't have to fertilize anything, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point the whole system just tanks and crashes. And everyone's ideology has limitations.
Yeah.
How many households can you support on a half acre?
Yeah, well, with our CSA, it's a good question. We use all the land kind of pooled together to provide for the CSA, for our market stand, for our donations. So, right now we have 60 full shares, or 108 families involved in the CSA, mostly half shares. So we do that, then we have a market stand we're selling from daily, and then we also donate to 2 other nonprofits in town. So that's primarily off of this half acre and 1.3 acres there. We grow our potatoes in rutabaga country, and actually we're a winter sponsor of Brent's Farm too. Didn't mention that. So, a few other items. So I don't grow any corn. Stuff that takes up so much space. Like we grow pretty much. Corn's the big one that people ask for. We don't grow sweet corn, but almost everything else. I do like can't grow parsnips. A few random ones. It's pretty different.
Do you do herbs also?
Yeah, we do. We'll cut basil for people. Otherwise, there's a section of the garden over here. It's kind of like we tell them in their initial email. We have rosemary, thyme, chives, oregano, sage. You go and kind of pick it at your leisure. Some cilantro.
There we go.
Sorry. It should have been one of the original emails.
Oh, it's not the original email. I was
Okay.
going all the miles, so now I know.
You have it there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we get to see the garden?
Yeah. Freedom. Walk around or?
Yeah.
So do you take requests from your customers then on what you want to grow for the year? Or what is that?
Zinni's a little past the prime, but here's some of the herbs here. It's their second. They plant these strawberries just this spring. Those strawberries were from the year before we harvested off that batch there. I've grown some strawberries in my backyard, but I'm not growing a ton. I don't know much.
The strawberries this year were fabulous.
Good.
We picked at the perfect ripeness.
Yeah, we try to. It's the advantage. Next year we might be able to take a U-pick. We mow that down, they come right back at the end, and then put a little bit of fish on that. You can walk this way if you want. So yeah, tomorrow night we're having we had interns that worked at the farm this summer, and a guy and a girl from the interns that they met, and they met obviously, and they're getting married tomorrow already. So yeah, they're gonna their wedding ceremony here, and then the reception's will be right across from our other farm site. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, very exciting.
So we got to clean up some of these. We deadhead some zinnias. And, yeah.
Yeah. One of the other things my renter told me that stuck with me is everybody should have a field day at least once a year, so you got to clean up the farm.
Yeah. Yep. So this is gonna fall broccoli in here.
Oh, great.
We planted garlic was there earlier in the season.
And it's really, you know, you're not seeing a lot of evidence of cabbage loopers or anything. Any BT or anything you spray on that, or?
You know, I haven't done any BT here in this. I have BT at hand, and the other property could use them more, but it's not too bad.
I actually find the wasps really work the cabbage loopers pretty hard. If you can tolerate wasps, you're all set. Those are ground cherries.
It's ground cherries, yep, house cherry, ground cherry. Oh yeah, try some, they're good.
Really climbing out of the ground.
Is it like a tomato?
No, it's
It's a kiss a cousin to a tomatillo.
It is, yeah.
Hey, I gotcha. A rolling. What are those, Mom? What they
It's expensive.
are?
You want to find one that's like a yellow or orange color?
What's that?
Yeah, that might be a little sweeter.
I never heard of them. They look like tomatillos.
Yeah, basically our tomatillos.
Are they good?
They're unique. They're hard to. I love them.
But they're growing like so close to the ground where tomatillos you have to go more up, right?
Tomatillos have a similar kind of sprawling habit. They'll lay down. We've staked our tomatillos on our
Look at
property.
this one. Look at this one. But somebody ate it.
Here, this is big. Some good bug.
What is it, Mommy? What is it, Mommy?
Here's the set right there.
What is
Here.
it, Mommy? There's a lot of it. What is it? Where's your arm, Mommy? They can't.
Does it taste like a tomato?
No. It's
What tastes like? Good. Mama?
They're good? You like it?
We got your CSA rolling just in time for the kale revolution.
yeah.
Kale's hot stuff these days, my goodness.
Yeah. I'm a believer in it too.
You've got the curly kale and the dinosaur kale. Love it. Oh, and here comes the bad food man.
Our kids call it the music truck.
The music truck.
They're not that. They're old enough now where like they still call them music because we ingrained them, but they know very well it's ice cream in there. They have to taste that ice cream.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, thanks for your hospitality and good luck.
Yeah.
And many more years of good farming.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
You bet.